Let's start the show. You ready?
Yeah, I mean, unless you have any other pressing.
I don't.
Uh,
I just excited.
yeah, no, it's cool.
All right. Well, welcome back to Return of the Disc. This is the after show of the top 250 movie list. Joining me again after 10 episodes and our complete list is Tom.
Yes. Hello, I'm Tom.
So we made it through. What did you think of our lists overall? Like, how did you feel about the whole experiment going back after doing this like 7 or 8 years ago? Just in general, your general thoughts on the whole experience of doing it this year.
It was a lot less painful because I think we had a set end time, and then we prepared quite a bit more than we did last time. Last time we just winged it, and
Oh boy, did
listen,
we!
oh my god, listening back to some of those, I'm just like, oh wow, there's a lot of dead air. I am kind of shocked that it seems like each episode was like an hour, and I'm kind of shocked that we were able to fill up. We did 10 hours of this,
Yeah,
which is longer than we did last time. But
10 weeks, 10 hours. Yeah, dude, it's great job for
yeah,
you and me
well,
too, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, you
And
too, yeah.
um, uh, it's but yeah, so I think our lists were totally different. My top 25 was probably similar to my old list. I didn't actually check. I should have checked, but
Yeah, I couldn't find a copy of my old one, and I was typing out based on the podcast, and then I was like, I have another 3 hours to listen to this. I can't do it.
yeah, because those were
Um,
quite long. Those are way longer
yeah,
episodes that we did, and this one was concise, and I really liked our rule too. Like you said, having the description or just a couple sentences or a couple thoughts. I think it worked out. The tough part for me was I don't know what it was. I had trouble finding movies. Like I had trouble like coming up with 250 to even consider. I don't know. I've been ordering maybe it's because I've been ordering a lot of crazy stuff, or I was being too hard. I'm probably being too hard on it.
I think so.
Yeah,
Probably. I mean, because I came up with a list of, I literally just went through my movies and I came up with a list of 700 that I was like, if this ends up on there, I'll be fine with it. And then I just had to whittle that down.
yeah. It's interesting too. Did you have any streaming movies?
I know Glass Onion was on there with
Oh
Knives
yeah.
Out. Um, there might have been another one, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look.
That sounds right. That sounds not too many, and that might change in a couple years if we did this again 10 years from now. It's like we could
Yeah,
have a
well,
couple that aren't even on disc anymore.
I mean, there's several movies that I would really like, movies and TV series that are only available on streaming that I would really love to own that I can't. Um, so you
Yeah,
know, um,
same here, man. Especially those TV shows now. It's just like there's a lot of
yeah. Well, I mean, part of it is they're producing too many, truly, because nobody's watching the same things. Um, and they're all good. It's just, there's too many to keep track of. So, or a
okay.
lot of them are good, a lot of them are bad.
Yeah, I don't know. TV's kind of still that golden age, but anyways, let's. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna go through my list of these are Tom's 250 movies that I haven't seen that I've never seen.
Okay.
Okay, so your number three, Yellow Submarine. I've seen parts of it. I don't remember making it through. Um, Dracula with the Philip Glass score. Your number eight. Your number nine, The Black Cauldron. Your number 45, The Interview with the Vampire. Your number 53, one that you've actually given to me into my stack, Barry Lyndon. Number 57, House of a Thousand Corpses. Number 59 has my name in it. Daniel Isn't Real. He is. Number 82, Blade of the Immortal. Number 99, did we see this one? And I might have been intoxicated. Brain Damage. think I might have.
Yes, we
Yeah,
we did watch this one. You're probably high.
nodding out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Story of my life. 101, I've seen parts of Eyes Wide Shut. 104, Fantastic Planet. 109, The Devils. 122, Caligula. 123, Death in Venice. 125, Gothic. 127, Scooby Doo and Monsters Unleashed. I haven't seen those. 128, Fanny Alexander. 135, seen parts of some of these. I think I even said let's watch something else. Knights of Cabria, La Dolce Vita, and Juliet of the Spirits. Number 48, Don't Look Now. Number 154, Horror Express. Number 157, sorry, The Descent. 162, The Time Machine. 164, Roma. 166, Playtime. 167, Rope. 168, Theater of Blood. 176, Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me. I'm gonna drop the numbers now. Deep Red, Notorious, okay. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Monsters Inc., Mary and Max, Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, Tafts of Glory, Black Sabbath, The Hunger, Bamboozled, The Famous Baron Munchausen, and The Name of the Rose. We Need to Talk About Kevin, and Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2. And 10 weeks later, I still haven't seen any of those fully. So got some movies to watch. So Tom, did you have any that you hadn't seen that were on my list?
Yes, let me look. I have a document of that. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Okay. I haven't seen Rock and Roll High School, Bumblebee, Boys in the Hood, Somewhere in Time, A Star is Born, Dan in Real Life, Greenberg, Midnight Run, Terms of Endearment, Who's Yours, Enough Said, The Descendants, American Graffiti, Garden State, American Gangster. I've seen. I started and then I turned it off, so I have not seen the whole movie. Rudy, The General, The Pope of Greenwich Village, Walking the Edge, Lady Snowblood, A Face in the Crowd, Any Given Sunday, Another Round, Moneyball, Basic Instinct. Although I am going to watch that one this week because it's going away on Criterion, so I gotta watch that one.
You gotta let me know what you think of that.
I'm pretty excited. I didn't even realize Paul Verhoeven directed it. Yeah. So
it was back in the 90s when it was like those erotic thrillers were really taking off, and this one really started that kind of subgenre.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of like, I kind of wish they would come back, but like also the only other one that I can think of is Disclosure, which like I didn't particularly care for, even though it is Michael Crichton. So like I couldn't even read the book. I started it several times and I was just like, I'm not feeling this. I'm just gonna watch the movie.
Yeah, this one's pretty good, man. I enjoyed it.
Hell yeah. Crazy Heart. Okay, I hadn't seen Smokey and the Bandit, and I still haven't seen the full movie, but I watched like the last like hour or so because Vinny had it on like Friday, I think. So I'm still gonna leave it on because I haven't seen the full movie, but
that's probably enough, though. That's probably enough. I mean,
yeah,
you got the gist of it.
I got the gist of it. It looked fun. It wasn't particularly my cup of tea, it seems like, but like maybe I just wasn't in the right mood. But I was like, oh, okay, it's mildly amusing, but like not. Yeah, I don't know. Apollo 13, Ford vs Ferrari, Glory, Gattaca, Coming Home, Cool Runnings, which you are not the only person who has told me to watch Cool Runnings. Sling Blade, The Last Picture Show, The Verdict, Heartbreakers, Fandango, Top Gun Maverick, Sorcerer, Love and Basketball, The Quick and the Dead, Silver Linings Playbook, I saw like 1 or 2 scenes when you had it on one time, but I've not seen the full movie. The Natural. So those are the ones I have not seen from your list.
Pretty solid. I mean, I feel like that was about the same amount. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I wasn't counting that, but do you know what the difference of similarities, the number of similarities we had together?
Yeah. I made a whole thing. So let me. What are you doing? Word. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we had a total of 58 movies in common that were on both of our lists. And I figured out which slot we each had it at and how many slots
Really?
different there were in between them. So I don't know. I could just like start at the bottom and
Was it a lot?
start reading them up. I mean, it's 58, so like it's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of a
true.
lot.
I can just show it on the screen, I guess. I mean, if you want to go through it, we can, but
Yeah.
it's up to you.
Do you want me to just list the titles and then when we get
Yeah.
towards the like top? Okay. So we had Thief, Blade Runner, The Devil's Backbone, though I shared the slot with Pan's Labyrinth, Jaws, Predator, Die Hard, The Sting, Back to the Future. I had it as part of the trilogy. Scarface, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Pulp Fiction, The Fog, The Irishman, Logan, Double Indemnity, Iron Man / Avengers Endgame, which I had as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Infinity Saga, Suspiria, Chinatown, Moonlight, which you had as on a slot with La La Land. Although in your document you didn't have that, but when you read it out loud, you did. Cinema Paradiso, Boogie Nights, A Nightmare on Elm Street, True Grit, The Dark Knight, Scream, The Shining, The Shape of Water, Rear Window, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Metropolis, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Mad Max: Fury Road, The Thing, Citizen Kane, The Apartment, Carnival of Souls, Aliens, which I had as part of the trilogy, Groundhog Day, Night of the Living Dead, Django Unchained, Star Wars, which I also had as part of a trilogy, Alien, which I had as part of a trilogy, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, you know the deal. John Wick, which I had part of the trilogy, Braveheart, Blowout, Lawrence of Arabia, Inglorious Bastards, Gladiator, There Will Be Blood, Drive, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Then Casablanca, we had 10 slots apart, as well as Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, we had 10 slots apart. Misery was 9 slots apart. The Big Lebowski was 7 slots apart. Halloween was 6 slots apart. And RoboCop was 5 slots apart, and that was the one that was the closest. Was
Wow.
RoboCop at 5 slots apart?
Wow. Yeah, so I think it made for a great series, though, that we had such, diversity in titles. I mean, only
Yeah,
58. I mean, that's mostly
200
200
different.
different. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I think that's great. Let's go to some shout outs here. I want to give a shout out to some commenters that commented over the 10 weeks. Carl Grant 2560 says, I enjoyed the video. A really nice selection of films. It's nice to see these films that you wouldn't always see on the usual list. I cannot wait for the next episode. That was commented 2 months ago on the first episode. So hopefully Carl kept watching. Let us know below. Let us know if you had. And on the second episode, we had RW Movies Reviews, who's always a big commenter of the channel. He says, Hacksaw Ridge is awesome. Wonderful story. Agreed. So
that's a good one.
that was it as far as comments. I know my dad was texting me a lot, so I'm going to go to this section. I'm going to call this Dad Text. And let's see if I have to edit this down, but Dad, or let's call this. I'm going to call this my dad's reaction to the top 250 movies list. All right. Tell Tom he has a nice shirt.
Thank you.
It must have been a Beatles shirt that day.
I would assume so. I mean, I have a lot of Beatles shirts, so I have a lot of Universal Monster shirts too.
Sorry, I guess this wasn't going to take wasn't as quick as I thought it was going to be.
It's okay.
Apparently text a lot with each other. So I don't know. We'll just cut it. He had a good time watching it though, and he'd send me some stuff, and it inspired him to even think about making his own list. I know Time Machine was one that he had seen that you had on your list, and he said that was a nice pick. So
I loved that movie when I was little, and I rediscovered it like I don't know, a year or two ago, and I was like, okay, this one still is like awesome.
Okay. I want to check it out.
It's very close to the novel. I think the only major change they made is obviously they're making it in the 60s, so
yeah,
they know, the next like 70 years from the novel, like what's going to happen. So they, he finds out about World War II, only real major change from the book. But yeah, it's well done. I gotta share it with my parents and like Vinny and people, because like I retweeted your stuff on my Twitter, but I haven't like personally shared it with people.
Oh yeah, it's on. Should be on audio version too if they're interested in that. I know we had some more viewers on the audio, Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Play. Are there any movies that you've seen in the last 10 weeks that you would add in now to if you were to do a list today? Is there any that to come up on top of your head that you're like, I should have put that in there, or now that belongs in there?
I actually have been making a small list, so like if I had to do it over again, I think Sherlock Holmes and the Shawshank Redemption Green Mile would be knocked off, although I do kind of appreciate that joke.
Nice bookend though.
Yeah. So I rewatched the movie Gods and Monsters, which I hadn't seen in a few years, and I think I probably would include that one. I was debating whether or not to put The Arabian Nights or Solo by Pasolini on there. So I think that like one of those might end up being on there next time. I don't know if it was during the series or before, but I saw War and Peace, the Soviet Union 60s version of the film, which is like 7.5 hours. And it was a truly awe-inspiring experience on the screen. I think I probably would include that one if I can have room for it. And then I've seen the 39 Steps and Brotherhood of the Wolf for the first time in the last 10 weeks, and
wow.
I haven't rewatched them, so I don't know how they're going to play on rewatch, whether I would still like say these are contenders, but they're probably contenders for me right now. Well, okay, technically I'd seen the 39 Steps before, but it was a crappy DVD. Like it was in one of those 50 movie packs or something. So like you really couldn't see what was going on. I watched it on Criterion though, and I was like, okay, this is a masterpiece. This ranks with some of Hitchcock's best films for me. And then the other one, which you kind of laughed about, is on Father's Day, we went to a showing of The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2. And although I've seen the movies The first one multiple times on home video. I didn't particularly care for them. I thought that they were okay.
Yeah,
But seeing it in the theater, I was again blown away, and I think I have to include The Godfathers on my list next time. So much so that I'm kind of like, I'm not even sure I need Once Upon a Time in America on my list. I'll have to rewatch that movie and see how I feel, but The
that's true
Godfathers
because
were
part
just,
two is kind of the same thing in a way.
yeah,
In a
yeah.
way, yeah.
And you know, I really fell in love with Once Upon a Time in America before I saw The Godfather Part 2. And so I was like, well, this story is so much more epic than The Godfather. But if you add in the second part, I'm like, The Godfather is kind of more epic. It covers two generations. And, like, you know, the ending is less weird.
Hmm. And I'm
No,
sure like seeing The Godfather and Godfather Part 2 in theaters is a different experience.
it really is. And also back to back, it was really helpful because especially the first one, because I hadn't seen it in theaters before. I didn't always see like how the side characters were like relating to the plot, and like I wasn't able to follow their arcs as well as I was when I was watching in the theater. I really understood much better each retaliation back
Hmm.
and forth, much better watching it in the theater than I ever did on home video. Um, and then also between the two films, watching them back to back like that, I realized like um again the side characters, like how their arcs continued between the two films. Especially I was struck with Michael's sister's
Hmm.
arc, because like she goes from, she's just a completely different character in the second one almost, and it's because of how she is reacting to the trauma of
Trauma.
Michael having her
Yep.
husband killed. um And because I hadn't watched them back to back before, I didn't realize how big a difference there was between her in the first film and her in the second film. And I was like, oh wow, like I wouldn't, if I didn't like know you're the same character, I'm not sure I would have like realized it. Like she's acting completely different, she looks completely different. Her, yeah, just
Yeah.
so that was real interesting. Um and yeah, so I actually like, I'm very interested in the Coppola's recut of the third movie. Like, I'm wondering if that makes that into a good movie. I've never seen the
I
third
haven't
one.
seen it. I haven't seen the Coppola cut. I've seen the third one, and it is just so disappointing.
Yeah,
Um, but there's one line that I really quote in there that Michael says like, first I thought it was out, then they pulled me back in. That's like one of the famous lines from that.
I didn't
Um,
realize that was from the third one. I
yeah.
mean, I guess I didn't notice it in the first two, but I always assumed it was like from the yeah.
Yep. That's the third one. Yep. And this is like around the time I think it's 90s, maybe not, yeah, early 90s, and Pacino is like turning into like the caricature of
Yeah,
Pacino. So, I mean, he's fine in it, but I just think it was more like maybe a script problem, and Coppola wanted to use his daughter, Sophia, so
hmm.
as one of the leads, and it didn't go so well. But yeah, check it out though, just for the experience. Saying you've seen it, and um,
I'm thinking of getting the 4Ks of the trilogy at some point. So
I would definitely
yeah,
get. I grabbed 1 and 2. They were on sale. I don't know, like a couple months ago, but they're so fantastic transfers, and
I'll
um,
bet.
he's fixed the color grading. I guess the Blu-rays had like this sepia type orange or yellow on it, or kind of filter, and he's taken that away, and he's recolor balanced them. Um, so it's like all approved by Coppola again. And,
Okay, that's interesting because the film prints had a sepia-ish tone.
oh, really?
Yeah, so
Well, this
yeah,
was like
we'll see.
it was I don't know. It's just like it's a big difference, like night and day. I mean, I think there is some sepia tones like when they go to Italy, it has like
Yeah,
that golden look. I don't know. But 4Ks are great. Hopefully you saw a good print. I'm assuming you probably did. I'm sure.
I mean, it's from the American Cinematheque. I'm assuming that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did good. Like, I mean, love the New Beverly, but they do sometimes show like real old faded prints. I've never really had that with the American Cinematheque. I think there was, I don't remember what movie it was, but I do think there was like one time where I was like, okay, that this is kind of a older print. But other than that, I've always been like, no, they show like the best.
And the thing about the Godfather too, it's like it takes its time, and it just feels like I don't. It really does. Like when they start with the wedding, it's like they're photographs in motion. It's just I don't know. I know that's what
Mhm.
movies are, but it's just like it's really relevant in the Godfather. Just like oh man, these are like moving pictures. It's crazy. I don't know, but
I,
it's
I actually went and got the book for $1, and I'm reading it
oh that's
now.
probably way worth it then. I don't know
Yeah,
how what the differences are or anything, but yeah,
yeah. I mean, so far, so all the people who it starts off with like a montage of people who need something from Don Corleone, and then like it cuts to the wedding where they're going to, uh, ask for that. So those scenes are not in at least the first two films. I'm assuming they're not going to flash back to that in the third film for whatever reason. Um, but it's also not necessary because, like, those are extra scenes to shoot that don't really add anything to the movie. And they're mostly internal because it's mostly like, oh, okay, like, we need to talk to the Don
yeah.
about this. Um, but yeah, I'm very
Well,
early in.
great sidetrack there on Godfather. We could do like a whole podcast on the
Oh yeah.
Godfather. I'm
Oh yeah, yeah.
sure,
But
but
that would
yeah.
totally be on my list next time. Maybe when I get the 4K and I watch all three of them again, I'll let you know, and we could just do like a thing on
Yeah, that'd be
those.
fun. I'll have to watch the Coda, the Coppola
Yeah,
Coda, third one. But
yeah.
um,
And I want to I want to rewatch Once Upon a Time in America too, and see if I still like because I was very struck by that one when I first watched it. Um, but I haven't watched it in like 2 or 3 years at least, probably more. So
yeah, awesome. Um, so for me, I'm trying to think of Serpico would be one that would make it. I'm not sure what would come off. Probably something near the bottom. And trying to think. Um, Not a whole lot. I just feel like I haven't seen much in theaters that's been great this year so far.
yeah.
Um, a lot of the stuff that I've been watching right now, I got to be honest with you, is like schlocky vinegar syndrome stuff, or like
Yeah, that's fair.
you know. So I mean,
Well,
they could make it. Oh
oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Some of those are good.
There's one that I would probably consider now is Friday the 13th, the original,
Yeah, that's a decent movie.
because I really enjoyed um, the twist.
I I kind of prefer The Burning, honestly, to like any of the Friday the 13th movies. But like also Harvey Weinstein wrote it, so like it's
I
hard for
That's
me
the
to like.
thing. I started it and I was like, this is cool, and then his credit came up like,
I mean, it is kind of interesting because like there's a lot of rapey elements in it, so like you're kind of like, oh, there were warning signs. Um,
yeah, because I was considering getting the 4K from Shout Factory, but I didn't finish the movie because I was like, I don't know if I can watch this right now.
I have the Blu-ray. I'm not really. I mean, like, who knows? I always
Yeah,
say that I'm not going to get the 4K, and then I do. So
but then again, it's like I have this other movies that he's produced, but I guess
oh yeah, yeah.
it
Well,
was the fact that he wrote this one. I think
yeah,
that was like,
yeah,
okay, I
yeah.
need
I
to turn
mean,
the
like, because from like the producing angle, it's like, what am I not going to watch any of Tarantino's movies, any of Wes Craven's movies,
right Kevin
any of
Smith
Kevin
and
Smith's
yeah,
movies? It's
yeah.
like he was such a mega producer that his name is on like everything for like 30 years there.
90s, yeah, or 90s, early 2000s for sure.
Yeah, it's
And
just like, how can you not like? You kind of just got to like. Whenever I see a movie in theaters and his name comes up now, everybody boos. It's really funny.
But the fact that it came from his mind and he wrote it, kind of, that kind of like got disturbing for me. So I was like, I don't know if I can.
That's true. I mean, but it is a horror movie, so to like some extent, I am just sort of like, this is how he thinks of the world. It's like, yeah.
And it's not just him making a movie too. So I got to remember that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a total like group effort. So I mean, I gotta man up and watch it.
So I found out about The Burning from Seth Grammy Smith's book, How to Survive a Horror Movie. He has an appendix with like his like recommendations on horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what happened to my original copy, but it vanished. I couldn't find it. I'm assuming we somehow lost it when we switched rooms with my roommate. But anyway, they put out a updated edition, and so I was like, well, I'm just going to get it because I used to love reading this book. And I don't know that I'll ever read it all the way through again, but like I just sometimes will flip through and like read it and it's funny. But so he added a few more movies to his appendix, and then he the only entry that he updated was The Burning. And he said, and the scariest thing about it might be that it's written by Harvey Weinstein at the end. And I was like, that's pretty funny. I mean, yeah. So.
Yeah. It happens. Let's see. What else about top 250? I thought it was challenging, like I said, just to find movies and to organize them. I think I was just overthinking it overall. But I'm glad we did it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Did you have any other thoughts on looking back on the last 10 weeks?
Well, I thought of another movie from this year.
Nice.
Infinity Pool. That one might make my top 250.
Are you gonna pick up the unrated?
Yes.
4K.
I almost got the Blu-ray so many times, but I was like, they're gonna release a 4K. It'll probably be the unrated cut. You should wait. And every time I made an order, I like put it in the basket and then I took it out. And then when they announced it, I was like, you were right.
Good call. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm so happy that that's coming out because I really want to see Mia Goth jerk off Skarsgård.
Now I did read that it was a prosthetic penis.
Oh, okay. Today, no, I'm kidding. I don't actually care.
I don't know.
Yeah. No. I mean, like, it was a joke. Like, I just thought it was insane that happened. But
I'm just curious to know what was like taken out or put in, so I'm curious to watch that as well.
I am too. Yeah.
But they also now they're putting out a box set of Crimes of the Future with special features, and the Blu-ray doesn't have special features. So I don't know. Hopefully, this Infinity Pool unrated has special features, but I could see that the same company, Decal, I could see them releasing a box set of Infinity Pool as well down the road. Oh, another one that might make my list that is getting a Criterion is the David Bowie documentary that you had on there.
Yes, I'm getting that one.
Yeah, not Life on Mars. Moonage Daydream. That was fantastic. I mean, fantastic movie about just an artist's life, and just you really got. I got a sense that we got to really know Bowie from the inside as much as we're going to get to know him. But I thought it was fantastic what the footage they used and the way that it was edited. It was it's a wonderful documentary.
It is. The other one was Nightmare Alley. I took that one off my list, but I really enjoyed the black and white cut in theaters, and I think you told me that Criterion is supposedly putting out a 4K of that at some point with the black and white cut.
Yep, I think I have both on there.
So I think the color cut got slightly edged out, but I'm wondering the black and white cut might make it on there because I remember loving that one more than the color cut.
I'd love to see the black and white cut.
It
of that
was
movie.
really gorgeous. I was very disappointed they didn't include it on the normal 4K, but since it's coming, I'm like, okay. I did get the steelbook, so I don't know. I'm a little
Just swap the discs out.
no. I'm gonna keep the Criterion. The Criterion is gonna be beautiful, but yeah, I'll get a decent amount for the 4K steelbook
Yeah, you will.
of Nightmare Alley.
Yeah, it's I just wonder too if that was Del Toro's vision was black and white initially. And
He,
I wish they had just released it in black and white because I mean it bombed, unfortunately, just at the box office. So I mean, if it's gonna
yeah,
bomb, might as well have your original intention out.
I know, yeah, but I mean, like, the execs don't always think that way.
Plus, it
Like,
was one of those. I think it was the same day release too. It was COVID times, so it was kind of
yeah,
wonky.
yeah, and I mean, like, it's a depressing movie. Like it's
Hmm.
not like
It's not Happy Carnival type.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The place where he ends up at the end, you're just like, oh god, that's so dark. And I mean, like, it is accurate to the novel, which I think was always his intention. It's kind of like the Coen Brothers True Grit remake, where
Yeah,
they're like, the movie, the original movie isn't accurate to the novel. We want to remake it to be accurate.
yeah,
Um, and I think he succeeded. Um, So yeah, I mean, like, I think that black and white cut might make it on. I did have it on there, but then at a certain point I was like, I'm gonna take it off in favor of something else. Oh, the other one, my Monsters Inc. slot was
hmm.
originally Monsters Inc., Coco, Ratatouille. I was trying to decide between the three of them.
Oh yeah,
I think I might go Ratatouille if I had to do it over again.
that's one I
Because
haven't seen.
I used to love Monsters Inc. I think they're all three great films. I used to love Monsters Inc. When I was little, and so I chose that one because of the nostalgia factor. But these days, I go back and I watch Ratatouille way more than I do Monsters Inc.
Oh yeah,
Um, it's it's just so adorable. I love Peter O'Toole voices a food critic. Um, his office is laid out from above as a coffin. He wanders in like as this like spooky specter. It's so interesting. It's such a fun performance. Vinny and I will quote at each other: "If I don't love it, I don't swallow."
I guess I better watch this. It sounds like a good movie.
It is. So my mom will uh she has kind of a I forget which the sandwich places has a rat as their spokesperson, but she's like, no, don't put rats and food together. So when Ratatouille came out, she had that same sort of thing, and so like I didn't go see it for a while. I watched it on home video, and then I was like, okay, actually this movie is really good. Um, but that's my favorite Brad Bird. Like I prefer it to the Incredibles movies and the Iron Giant. So
Yeah, and Tomorrowland, I think. Yeah, he just hasn't really. I think he directed Mission Impossible 4 as well.
oh really?
I think so. Ghost
Yeah,
Protocol. Yeah,
I'm standing by what I said though,
yeah.
but because Rogue Nation and the first one are my two favorite Mission Impossible
Yeah.
movies, far and away. Uh, then three, I guess, but
Three is
then
like
four.
three is like one that I like. I want to love it, but it's not quite there.
Yeah, yeah, I enjoyed it when it came out. I enjoyed four when it came out too, but like I don't revisit it. I'm sure at some point I'll do like a complete series rewatch, but
Yeah. Well, I think that'll do it
yeah,
for the after show. I want to thank you again, Tom, for doing this with me. It was a lot of fun.
of course. I mean,
Um,
I was kind of pushing you to get it
I know.
to do it.
Well, it hit me one day. I think I resisted it for a while, and then I was like, you know what? It'd be fun to do, and
Yeah.
um, and it
Well,
was.
and in another few years, I'm sure we'll do it again. Like
I'm sure you'll talk me into it. Yeah, I'll try to
yeah,
be like, can we
yeah.
do 100?
And I'll be like, no,
You're like, no,
never.
we're gonna do 500 this time. I was like, ah.
You know, I could probably do a 500 list,
I
and
know
I'd
you
be happy
could.
with it. Yeah.
I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't know why I can't. Like, I guess I'm just like, um, but then again, I had some questionable choices, so it's all subjective. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's
Well,
no
I
wrong
mean,
answers. I keep telling myself there's no wrong answer.
well, like I put Brain Damage on here. Like most people would think that movie's a piece of crap, but like I fucking love it.
Okay, there's no wrong answer unless I put like Birth of the Nation or whatever.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't put that movie on there.
But there's no, in general, like there's no wrong answer.
It sort of baffles me too how people like still love that movie, and I'm just like, I can't even watch it. It's 3 hours, and like it's so racist. It's just like so cringy and uncomfortable to
We covered it
watch.
all today. We covered Harvey Weinstein, racist films, and
Oh my god,
The
yeah. I had,
Godfather. And
like I did have a film friend who like I don't
oh,
think he
really?
watches these, but he like one day came in and was like raving about how good Birth of a Nation was, and I hadn't seen it, so like I couldn't like. I was like, oh okay. So then I like finally sat down to watch it, and I was like, I can't even do this. I'm just gonna like skim through and like see like the important bits, and then the ending was so horrifying
He
because
was
they're
talking
just
about
like,
that version of it because there was a recent remake of well, it was,
um,
I don't think it was a remake. I think it was, they used the same title.
yeah, no, he was talking about the original film.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Was that
he was
Jose?
no, no, it wasn't
Okay.
Jose.
I was gonna say.
No, no. Well, he was talking. Okay, granted, he was talking more about the technical aspects than the story. So, like, I don't know, but he also complained about in Black Klansman how he ends with the footage of Charlottesville, and I was like, I think that's brilliant because it adds an extra layer to the film. We are now so like in the middle of the film. There's the scene where everybody's gathered and is listening to this man talk about a lynching from the past. So
Right.
like, well, the white supremacists are planning their next move, and it puts us in that perspective and makes us realize we are watching a story about past racism while the white supremacists are planning their next move. And
Yeah, it's sort of like,
yeah,
I think Spike Lee is going for like, it's, history is repeating itself essentially, or it's,
yeah, yeah, exactly. So like,
what has really changed. That's was what I got from it. Like he's
exactly.
proposing to us, like, have we really progressed, or he has that kind of deeper meaning to his films.
Yeah, like I think like if that wasn't there, you would walk out of it like all like cheery, like oh how far we've come, and then he takes that away from you
Yeah,
with that moment, and I respect the hell out of that because that was one of the boldest moves in that movie, and he made a lot of bold moves in that movie.
yeah,
Um, so like, but then that person also loved the movie Bamboozled, so like we're just like Spike Lee cutting to the core. So like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's up with him, but he's interested. I'm always kind of surprised at some of his tastes.
yeah. Um, yeah. So it's always fun to see also where we're at, as far as just people in general, and growing in our filmography knowledge and stuff. So I had quite a few more horror movies. I think that's
Yeah,
partially because of you, and and I guess just myself being open to that again. And but yeah, I just thanks again. It's been great, and we'll come up with something else to do on the channel
yeah, yeah.
together. And yeah. So any parting thoughts, Tom?
Um, keep watching.
Keep watching movies, guys. All right, guys. Take care. Peace out. And this has been the after show, the top 250 with some segues. And hope you enjoyed.
Yep. Peace out.